Today, I'm going to prepare a meal with a Spanish flair, featuring my easy paella. So nutritious, so delicious. So let's get cooking.
Jazzy, you're gonna be healthy with the Jazzy vegetarian. Jazzy, so snazzy. We're gonna cook something healthy and light. Jazzy, so snazzy.
So join me in the kitchen right now.
We're gonna cook something healthy and light. That's right.
Today I'll feature my easy paella, which is a Spanish-inspired rice dish combined with a variety of jazzy vegetables such as garlic, onions, peas, artichoke hearts, and tomatoes. Now we're going to start the meal with my quick, no-cook tapas. And for dessert, luscious pineapple-pecan cake made with sweet, fresh pineapple and crunchy pecans. So let's prepare it now. Here we go. This is one of my very favorite dishes, and it really is easy. Let's talk a little bit about paella. It's a Spanish rice dish with a saffron flavoring. And originally, the story goes is paella was a laborer's meal, and it was cooked over these big, huge fires in these big, huge pans, and everybody came after work and they ate with big spoons right out of the pan. But my story with paella is this. For many years, my husband kept saying to me, "Why don't you make a vegan paella?" Well, a while ago, he bought me a paella pan. Now, here's a little jazzy tip. You don't need a paella pan to make paella. You can actually just use a large skillet, anything you have that has a nice tight-fitting lid on it like this does. It'll work just fine. We're going to start with 4 scallions, and I've sliced up 3 of them. Here we're going to do a 4th. And we're going to use the green part, and we're going to use the white part of the scallions. We're just going to slice them kind of thin slices, but not too thin. We're going to add real nice flavor, real nice color. I'm just going to add it to those. The next thing we're going to add is garlic. What would paella be without garlic? And I just love garlic. So I'm going to mince about 2 cloves of garlic for this recipe. You can do more, you can do a little less. We do want real fine minced garlic in this because it's going to kind of distribute throughout your paella. Put it right in here. That just smells so good. I've cut garlic thousands of times, but every time I think I just love it more. So let me wash off my hands. Next up is parsley. Parsley really gives great color, great taste, and I'm using about 1/2 cup of fresh chopped flat leaf parsley. Let me just grab my other knife for this. There we go. You want to chop this parsley up pretty fine, but nothing in this dish has to be perfect. It's really, really rustic. A little bigger, a little smaller, it'll work just fine in this dish. I love cooking with flat leaf parsley. Of course, I grow it out on my deck in containers in the summertime. Now, the great thing about parsley, it not only adds taste and nutritional value to any dish that you may be making, it's really great to make a dish look good. Think about it. We eat first with our eyes. We want things to look really beautiful when we see them. So what I love to do is I just love to chop up fresh parsley into little minced pieces and sprinkle it over the top of soups and chilies and pastas. Anything that I may be serving makes it look like it came from a 4-star restaurant. So that's a little jazzy tip. Well, let's get back to cooking. I'm just going to put this right in here. There we go. Perfect. So we're going to start off with a big bowl, easy enough, and a 28-ounce can of organic whole tomatoes. That's what I have here today. The juice and all. Just dump them all in. You want to break them up a little bit. I love potato masher. I use it for so many things. All right, that is just perfect. We want some nice big chunky chunks of that tomato because later on they're really going to add some great texture to this paella. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of long grain brown rice. And you can either use the plain long grain brown rice like I'm doing today, but I've also used the long grain brown basmati rice. That adds a little bit of a nutty flavor. So 2 cups of uncooked long grain brown rice is what I'm adding right now. Now, standing in for our chicken in this dish, we are going to use cremini mushrooms. They're called baby Bella mushrooms in the store. And all we're going to do is pop out the stems. That's it. Keep them whole. So we're going to add those in just a minute. But next, I'm going to put in 1 sweet red pepper, chopped into about 2-inch pieces. The red pepper really goes with our color palette today. And then next, 1/2 cup of fresh chopped flat leaf parsley, 4 scallions that I have sliced. And now a little later on, what's going to be our little jazzy surprise is marinated artichoke hearts instead of the seafood, and that goes in at the last minute. Now, what we're also using is 1 cup of frozen green peas. So let me just grab those out of the freezer. And all you need to do is toss them right in. And do make sure they're frozen when they go in, because otherwise they will tend to overcook. Now this is looking fabulous. I'm going to give it a quick toss. Look at those colors already. I just get so excited about the colors in plant-based cooking. It makes me paella happy. All right, so here's our next jazzalicious surprise. As I said earlier, normally with paella, it's a saffron-flavored dish. Now here's a scoop. Saffron can be hard to find in your local supermarket. It's also expensive. So when I went to put this dish together, I wanted to find a great substitute that would give a great taste, great color, but be less expensive, easier to find in your supermarket, and super healthy for you. And it's turmeric. We're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of ground turmeric. That's going to add that beautiful orangey color that we're so used to in paella. And we're going to pair it with 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. So those 2 things together are going to take the place of our saffron. 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, our fabulous garlic, adding layers and layers of flavors. How many times have you heard me say that? Well, it's really the base of any cooking as far as I'm concerned, but it's really the base of great plant-based or vegan cooking. Okay, now we are going to add our mushrooms. We're just going to fold them in because we want them to stay whole as they cook. And I've got, about 8 to 10 ounces of baby Bella or cremini mushrooms, and kind of fold those in so they don't fall apart. Now we're going to add 1 3/4 cups of veggie broth. This is just a veggie broth that comes in the box. You could also use vegetable bouillon. So let's get it over into the paella pan. Dump it right in there. Woo! I love it. Now we're going to add a little more vegetable broth later. Cover this very tightly. Simmer it over a medium flame to medium low. Stir it occasionally. It's going to start thickening up. And, well, I don't want to give it all away because I want you to stick around and watch the rest of the show. So we're going to get it started right now. Next up, it's one of my favorite recipes from my cookbook, and it's my Pineapple-Pecan Cake. Upside down, that is. So let's go prepare that now. Pineapple-Pecan Cake. And this is how I love to cut a pineapple. Slice the top off. And the bottom. Take a nice sharp knife and cut around the side just like this. Just trimming right around it like that. I'm going to clean it up as we go. Goes pretty quickly. All right, that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to use 1/2 of this pineapple in the bottom, or what's going to be the top of the cake, and the other 1/2 of it is going to be used in the cake. I'm going to set this aside because I just core the pineapple. I'm just using an apple core. That works just fine and dandy. And just clean up the bottom a little bit. love the smell of fresh pineapple. Don't you? We're going to start by slicing this part of the pineapple pretty thinly. I like to use a little serrated bread knife for this part of it. Works really, really well. And just a few little random slices at the end. You see, we're going to need these because we're actually going to fit this into a square pan. All righty. Dump them right in a bowl. Oh, they're so pretty. Now, to this, we're just going to add brown sugar. You could also use maple sugar with this if you wanted to. Just about a heaping tablespoon is all you need. There we go. As the cake cooks, that little bit of sugar is going to help those slices to caramelize and make a nice little candied top to our pineapple cake. Get them all covered with a very, very thin layer of the brown sugar. Easy as cake. Let me grab my pan. This is what I've done. I have an 8x8 cake pan. It's a square one. You can use a round one for this if you like, but I kind of like the square against the round of the pineapple slices. And I have greased it all out with a little bit of vegan margarine, and then I cut a piece of unbleached parchment paper, put it at the bottom of the pan. That's going to keep your pineapple slices from sticking. Now here's the fun part. Put the slices into the bottom of your square pan, and you want them to overlap a little bit. So we're going to get a nice, pretty topping on this, and it's going to make such a beautiful topping for this cake when it comes out of the oven. All right, now when you get into these little square edges, this is what I was saying, it's kind of fun in the square pan. I think that's great. We've got our pan all prepped out, so let me set that aside. So now the second half, this is the other way I like to cut pineapple if I'm going to be cutting it into chunks. So I'm cutting around both sides of that core, just like that. Now you're just going to rotate it once. This is a great way to core a half of a pineapple. That's the whole deal. Then watch. That core just pops right out of the middle. Pretty cool, huh? Just going to tip this over like that. Cut a couple of extra slices in it. And then just cut right across. And you're going to get some nice little pieces of pineapple for your pineapple cake. Oh, yeah. Now we're ready for our dry ingredients. And we're starting off with 2 cups of whole wheat flour and then 2 tablespoons of toasted wheat germ. Really adds some great texture to this cake. 1 tablespoon of baking powder. 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Oh yeah, that is looking good. Now, we're going to add some pecans, and I'm going to add 1 cup of chopped pecans. We need sugar in the cake. And I'm using brown sugar again. You could also use maple sugar. I'm going to use 2/3 a cup of sugar. Just going to whisk that all together. And now we're going to add about 1 cup of this diced pineapple. Now we want to make sure that that flour is covering that pineapple. As the cake cooks, it's going to kind of cook into that pineapple and bind it together. Now I'm going to add 1/3 cup of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 1/4 cups of this vanilla non-dairy milk. There it is. That is the perfect consistency for this cake. And now we're just going to get all this beautiful, beautiful batter into the pan. This is going into a 375-degree oven, and it is going to bake for about 40 to 50 minutes. Kind of smooth it over the top so it's kind of nice and even. Smells so good, too. I wish you could smell it. We're going to have those big chunks of pineapple as we take a bite, and crunchy pecans, and nice crunchy crust all around. It's really, really fabulous. I do get excited about food, don't I? But let's get this in the oven now. Paella, paella. Look at how beautiful this is. And we're not even done yet. Woo! Look at that. The first thing I'm going to do is just toss it about a bit. Make sure that my rice is getting done. Yes, that's beautiful. We're actually going to add a little more liquid to this at this point. We want to stir it just a little bit. This is the last time we're going to toss it about until we're done. You're going to see why. Now, at this point, don't be alarmed. The rice is still going to be a little bit crunchy, but you're going to see how we're going to fix that. We're going to arrange it to look how we want it to look when we serve it. A couple of those mushrooms. Now, we're on a very, very low heat, and that's what we're going to stay on until this is completely done. Now, as I said, our artichoke hearts are going to stand in for our seafood in this recipe. I'm using marinated artichoke hearts. We're going to arrange the artichoke hearts over the top of the paella in a spiral fashion. And instead of draining them first, you want to keep that little bit of oil that's left on those artichoke hearts. And that's going to cook into the paella and really make a great little extra sauce right on the top. I'm actually going to turn the heat off while I'm doing this. That's a beautiful one. All the way around there. Everybody's going to get a couple of these artichoke hearts in every single serving. Well, there's a beautiful one. That's looking good. Looking good. And I like to put one big one right in the middle. All right, let me rinse off my hands. I'll show you how we're going to finish this off. Now, isn't that looking pretty already? What we're going to do now, we're just going to put a little more liquid over the top, about 1/4 cup of your vegetable broth. Evenly distribute it all over the top. Now, we can add a little bit more at the very end, but just check this about every 10 minutes now. I'm going to put my top back on, and I'm going to let this cook for about 20-25 more minutes, very low heat, and we're going to end up with this beautiful, beautiful paella. Now on to my no-cook tapas. Tapas are a variety of appetizers or snacks, kind of finger food, and it's often served in Spanish cuisine. They can be served cold, as I'm doing this today, making it super, super easy. They can also be served warm. Basically, they're just appetizers. And I've started off with a organic fancy nut variety and some beautiful Kalamata olives and some different vegetables, a couple of different types of crackers, and some pretty figs here. One thing I haven't prepared is my garlicky hummus. So we're going to start off with about 1 cup of chickpeas. And I've drained them and rinsed them very well. And then 3 tablespoons of tahini. Tahini, you say, what the heck is that? Here's my thought about tahini. Think about peanut butter. Think about cashew butter. All tahini is it's sesame butter. Yes, it's sesame seeds that have been ground into a butter. And you're going to find it often in the ethnic aisle of your supermarket. So I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of tahini, 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon sea salt, and then 3 cloves of garlic. Now, what would hummus be without lemon juice? And we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in this. Fresh lemon juice, that is. And now we need 1/3 cup of water. And then just a little bit of oil. Let's just start off with about 1 tablespoon. You want to start your blender on low. So just start it off nice and slow. Perfect consistency. That is beautiful. Oh, yeah. Take a look at that. Nice and creamy, nice and garlicky. And I'm going to plate that up in my beautiful bowl. Before we do that, cake's got to come out of the oven. I smell it. That is great. That is beautiful. That golden brown color on the top. Let's bring it over here. Set it down. So that's all ready. Just leave that to cool for about 20 minutes or so before you turn it upside down. So let's just get our garlicky hummus right into this beautiful bowl. That is so beautiful. Easy to do, as you can see. Get that right there on my plate. Now it's time for the pineapple-pecan cake reveal. It's cooled off a little bit so I can handle it. And now is the time to be nervous. Take a breath. Let's flip it over. Oh yeah, there we go. That is absolutely perfect. I'm going to finish it off with some frozen raspberries, which I always keep in my freezer. And just make a pretty little pop to the center of this cake. Just decorate with a few of these pecan halves. I know the crew is going to be chowing down on this one today. I can just feel it. That right in the center. Perfect. There we have it. My pineapple pecan cake.
Paella. We're gonna have some paella tonight.
It's paella time. Ta-da! Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Now there's one little last touch with this, and it's just a little bit of fresh parsley right over the top. So there it is, my beautiful, beautiful paella. Here's my favorite part of the show, and I get to taste everything for you. We have these beautiful no-cook tapas, and of course a nice spoonful of that garlicky hummus. Now, this is a real spicy hummus. Wow, wowie zowie. It's creamy, it's garlicky. That little bit of chili powder makes it just so fabulous. Now I like to serve it with a green salad like I've put out here today. And now for the taste test. There we go. That is fabulous. Woo! Right on a pretty plate like this. That is gorgeous. And before you serve it, just a little bit more of that parsley right around the plate, just like that. I have to get one of these artichoke hearts, a little bit of those beautiful tomatoes. Those peas have all cooked down into it. Wow, that is fantastic. Now for our dessert. Yay, my beautiful pineapple pecan cake. I've got to take a taste of that. Cut a little wedge. Oh, that's so pretty. Look at that, how moist that is. It's got that beautiful glistening top. Wow, that is absolutely fabulous. It is so moist, it is so delicious. You don't miss the eggs. Wow, oh my gosh. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. And remember, if you're looking to prepare a tempting meal with a Spanish flair, I hope you'll try the recipes from today's show. So until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be well from the Jazzy Vegetarian.
Visit our website at jazzyvegetarian.com to connect with Laura, see videos, find your favorite recipes, and more. Follow Laura on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Laura Theodore's Jazzy Vegetarian Classics features recipes from this series, and it's available for $26.95. Jazzy Vegetarian, a collection of favorite recipes, is available for $24.95. A set of both cookbooks is available for $44.95. For information or to order, visit jazzyvegetarian.com.
Organic love, 100% natural. Yes, it is now. Organic love. I've got no additives or no preservatives. It's real intuitive. It's downright primitive. Organic love is 100% natural. Yes, it is now.